Advisory. Some episodes of the 1836 podcast are not intended for all audiences due to details that might be considered disturbing. Listener and viewer discretion is advised.
This episode of the 1836 podcast explores the life of the father of modern archery, Ben Pearson. Ben Pearson was born on November 16, 1898, in a modest log cabin nestled in the Ouachita Mountains foothills near Perrin, Arkansas, to a family of Saline County farmers. Life was tough back then. Rural Arkansas was a world of dirt roads, kerosene lamps, and hard labor. Ben and his brother Quentin grew up working the land and learning the value of a day's work. But there was something special about young Ben. As a boy, Ben watched Confederate war veterans put on shooting exhibitions in town. Crack shots firing at targets with precision, the crowd roared, and little Ben was hooked. Those early moments planted a seed, one that would grow into a lifelong passion for marksmanship. Ben's schooling was modest, ending after grammar school. In those days, farm life often took precedence over books. But Ben was a natural learner. He taught himself electricity and mechanics, skills that made him a standout teenager. By his early 20s, he was fixing appliances and working for companies like Arkansas Power and Light. His knack for tinkering was about to change archery forever. In 1925, Ben, now in his late 20s, stumbled across an article by Dan Beard in a Boy Scout magazine. It was a step-by-step guide on how to craft a bow and arrow. Inspired, Ben headed to his workshop, carved a hickory bow, and strung it up. That first bow was a beast with an 80-pound draw weight, not exactly beginner-friendly. In 1926, he entered the Arkansas State Archery Championships in Little Rock. He finished next to last, but Ben wasn't discouraged. He went back to the drawing board, refined his gear, and sharpened his skills. The next year, in 1927, he returned and took home the state championship title. That victory was just the beginning. By 1927, Ben settled in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and started crafting bows and arrows in his backyard. His vision was bold, to make archery accessible to everyone, not just the elite. At the time, bows had been handmade, expensive, and rare. Ben wanted to change that. In 1931, during the Great Depression, he hired part-time helpers to keep up with demand. Then, in 1938, a game-changer walked into his shop, an Oklahoma oil man named Carl Hahn. Carl had seen Ben's talent and ambition and invested in the business. With Hahn's backing, Ben had designed machinery for mass production. Ben Pearson Incorporated was born, the first United States company to churn out archery sets on an assembly line. By the 1960s, their Pine Bluff factory spanned 15 acres, employed over 800 workers, and had produced 3,000 to 4,000 bows and 3,000 to 5,000 dozen arrows daily. They had used Osage orange wood, rail cars of turkey feathers, and had even pioneered molded fiberglass bows to cut costs. Ben's operation had been so massive that people had started calling him the Henry Ford of archery. But Ben wasn't just a builder, he was a showman. He traveled the country performing exhibitions, pinning tossed ping-pong balls at 30 feet, or taking down a pronghorn mid-sprint at 25 yards. He never charged for youth or scout events. He just wanted to spread his love for the sport. In 1938, he placed 7th at the National Archery Association National Tournament, beating a young Fred Bear. And in 1968, the National Field Archery Association awarded him the Compton Medal of Honor for his contributions. Ben Pearson wasn't just shooting arrows. He had launched a movement. Sadly, on March 2, 1971, Ben Pearson suffered a heart attack at his home in Pine Bluff. He passed away at the age of 72 years old. The archery world paused to mourn the man who had given it so much. Ben was laid to rest at the Graceland Cemetery in Pine Bluff, a quiet spot in the community he had called home. But Ben's story didn't end there. His passing marked the close of a chapter, but his influence just got started. Ben Pearson's legacy was as enduring as the bows he'd built. In 1972, he was posthumously inducted as a charter member of the Archery Hall of Fame in Grayling, Michigan, alongside legends like Fred Bear and Howard Hill. He was also honored in the National Bow Hunters Hall of Fame and the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. By 1980, Ben Pearson Incorporated employed more than 350 employees with a payroll in the tens of millions of dollars. During its 50th anniversary, then-Governor Bill Clinton was presented with the company's 6 millionth bow and 200 millionth arrow that had been manufactured. Ben's spirit continues to live on at the Longbow Resort, a 1,200-acre retreat near Primm, Arkansas, that he bought in the 1950s as a personal escape. Later ran by family, the resort has become a haven for archers and nature lovers. The Ben Pearson Memorial Tournament in Pine Bluff is the state's oldest and largest three-dimensional archery event and draws shooters from across the region. Ben's widow, Mary, had been a fixture at the event until her passing in 2022. Ben's true legacy, though, had been in the sport itself. His affordable equipment made archery accessible to millions, from backyard hobbyists to Olympic hopefuls. His quiet wit and kindness left an impression on everyone he met. He didn't just build bows, he built a community, a passion, and a way of life. Ben Pearson's life reminds us that a single spark, whether it had been a childhood memory or a magazine article, could ignite a revolution. From a boy in the Ouachitas to the father of modern archery, Ben aimed high and hit the bullseye. His legacy lives through every bow drawn, every arrow shot, and every heart inspired by the sport he loved.